I was told to do right. Stick her by my side if they wanna test my life. Yeah, street kid, I was trapping long nights on the weekend. Shorty on me all night.
Yeah, it's your boy Blue Eyes Scandalous World back with the one and only, the legendary self-made, aka Jay Williams. What up, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Y'all already know this, man. It's Jay Williams. Let's live life. We're back in this bitch, man. Hey, thank y'all for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
How was the trip, bro?
Crazy. Like you come from the South, coming up north, expect the unexpected, man. Like I left at 10, and I ain't get here till the next day, like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I ain't surprised.
Like there was points we were just stopped, and people were getting out the car and peeing on the side of the road, and
bro.
You know what I mean, looking up the street, and like that was just a non-stop thing. So it took a minute, but you can expect that, man.
Yeah,
anytime
we appreciate you pulling up, though.
You know, anytime you getting ready to do something bigger than what you've been doing, expect obstacles. Law. You know what I mean? Like you got to get past what's coming.
Shit will happen.
I'm good with it. I came up from VA, man. I came all the way from Virginia up to Mass, man. So I don't even know, man.
Too many?
A lot. It was a lot. It was supposed to be like somewhere between a 9 to 12-hour trip. And then we hit one point where there was an accident. It was like 4 hours, stopped.
Detour.
And I mean, you couldn't even detour. You couldn't even get to like the closest.
Just stuck.
Yeah, you stuck.
Stuck on stupid.
So, you know, a 9 to 12-hour with traffic trip turned into about 18.
Hell yeah.
You know, and then I got here and linked up with Jaw. We went to the, you know, he treated me to the Red Sox game, so we did that. I ain't gonna lie, I was ready to back out. I was tired.
Yeah.
I said, man, these boys show me love, man. I can't do that.
I'm gonna keep it a
sleep when I die, man.
I made that trip down south before, bro, and I was sleeping. And as soon as I pulled up, as soon as I touched down, I slept the rest of the night and did whatever I had to do the next day. All my cousins, my Irish gypsy cousins, was like, come on, we're gonna work. I'm like, yo, I'll check y'all tomorrow. Get the fuck out my room. I'm going to bed, bro. I ain't built like that. Like, I need my sleep. So I appreciate you pulling up regardless. Either way, man, we had a great time. You know what I mean? Fenway's a historical place, you know what I mean? So
Fenway's, it's more than what you would expect. You know what I mean? A lot of people know I'm a Boston fan. Like you'll see me with a Yankee hat on, like on my hat. A hat also, but Boston's my squad.
I see you with Boston hats all the time.
Yeah, you'll see me. I mean, like I do colors, and I get a lot of love from different states. Yeah, so outside of it just being a baseball thing, if you see me in the Yankees fitted, it's not so much I'm a Yankees fan. It's you know, much love to everybody in New York that shows me love. You know what I mean? Like it might be a LA hat, a Texas hat. I get a lot of love all across the US.
That's a dope hat too.
Yeah, that's Scandalous squad in the building, man. Y'all know what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. For the people that don't know, he's a big inspiration for what we do. You know what I mean? Just putting that out there. So let them know, man. You know.
I tell people, man, when it comes to YouTube, there's a formula to it: honesty, consistency, and character. Yeah. Meaning you got to be somebody that people are going to watch. You can't be boring. You can't get too far off track. Be honest about whatever you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because if you get up here and you start lying as you grow, people are watching. Yeah. And they're going to call you on your bull. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be like,
can't remember all the lies.
Yeah,
right?
And you're going to get caught. Right. I've been in this 3 years. Ain't nothing changed. I tell the truth.
I hear you.
Consistency.
Truth's the easiest way, bro.
Like when I first started, I started YouTube and right at COVID, right? Which was a great time to get in.
A big podcast started, yo.
Yeah, I didn't even know, like...
Everybody started a podcast. Mike Tyson, Lil Wayne, I'm talking everybody.
Everybody was at home.
Everyone was home. What else to do?
I didn't know that in my process of doing that so many people would start watching, and I grinded for a year. I'm talking 3 to 5 videos every week, man, and people... They didn't see what I saw. You know what I mean? Your dream is your dream. Like, you can either do it while you're asleep or do it while you're awake. I do mine while I'm awake, and nobody saw my vision. Right. You know what I mean? As I'm doing it, people are like, man, he's wasting his time. Right. And I stayed with it.
Because a lot of time you did and do put in. I don't think people realize, like,
it's a job.
They just see him dropping videos occasionally, consistently all the time. Like, you don't know what goes into that all the time. So I salute to that because consistency is key, and you got that on log.
Well, it's all day. Like, you record the video. The average video I record is about an hour to hour and 45 minutes. Now I got to cut that down into an actual realistic watch time. Ain't nobody about to watch a full-length movie on YouTube. That's a YouTube video.
We lucky to get them to watch it short. The attention span nowadays so
you get to cutting, and then in the editing process, the thumbnails, the community,
the caption, the title, everything comes in.
6 to 8 hours on a video.
Right.
You know, people are like, it's not a job, it's not a job. Well, they wouldn't be paying if it wasn't a job.
Right. Especially what he does is so much on a whole nother level, but I could only imagine, but it is work, bro. And especially you can see the quality you put in. You get what you give, you know what I mean?
I do a lot of prison content, man. started getting in trouble at a young age. And prison changed over the years. I was in over a decade on my last bid, and I watched it change. It went from being men, I mean men.
Right,
like,
old school men.
Old school
real
men, burly men you would see in the streets.
Solid loyalty.
To being kids.
Where it really meant, right? Yeah.
Like the average dude coming in is between the age of 18 and 24 years old.
We were just talking about that.
And I told dudes, I said, if I get up out of here, and I told dudes my visions, I said, I want to try to stop this.
Yeah.
And I've got a story, I'm relatable, you know what I mean? Like, my story is very common. So I entertain with telling my stories, but there's always a moral to the story.
Definitely.
And I want somebody to hear it and know that I could have done something different and not had that happen, or just in being in that position, had I not committed that crime to begin with, I wouldn't be there. Like, there's not many people these days that don't know somebody's locked up, ain't got somebody locked up, or ain't been locked up.
That's what I think I realized I got old, bro, because it was like back in the day, it was like, yo, they would name drop like my father and my uncles and my big brothers.
Right.
And now in jail, it's like, yo, you know Ronnie, you know Bobby. Now it's like us. It's like we all of a sudden we're the old heads. Like it's like it came so quick, bro. But I like to get back into like where you came from, man. How you came up.
I was born in Richmond, Virginia, and it was maybe 2 weeks, and it was like we got to go. So we dipped from there to Charlotte, North Carolina, and from there we just bounced around, man. We were poor. Just like any other person, you know what I mean? Like, we grew up on sugar water, Kool-Aid, banana sandwiches, like, whatever, you know, government cheese.
Peanut butter,
School
banana,
took care of the clothing and Christmases. They showed the boxes of food on Thanksgiving. You know, the whole nine.
We all been there, bro.
And we couldn't really, like, make it from lease to lease without not paying the bills. So every year we moved. So we did our tour of, like, North Carolina, Charlotte, Henderson, just different places. And then at 12.
That got to be tough, bro, coming up, like.
It's hard. You know,
how many of y'all?
Like Roman.
I got 3 siblings, man. I got a brother and 2 sisters. And, but you could never really, like, you get close to somebody, you make a homeboy. And when your parents say move.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
7, 8 years old, you don't got a choice. You just move. There's times we moved and we left the dog chained up outside because he couldn't go.
Right.
Damn.
You know what I mean? There's times we moved and left, like, majority of our stuff.
You don't know what's going on. You're just a young buck.
Yeah. So then I'm like 7, and my pops gets into some shit again. And he comes in one night and he's like, pack everything in the truck now. Like, whatever if you can't grab it in the next 30 seconds, it gets left, right? So I'm 7. I grabbed this teddy bear I had, right? My mom, and much love to my mom, man. She has that teddy bear to this day. I grabbed this teddy bear, and that was the only thing I knew to grab. I'm a kid. I didn't grab no clothes.
That shows you where you were at.
That teddy bear was like that. That was like my friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was the one thing that through all the moves
that's how young
with
you
me.
were, bro. Wow.
That bear meant something to me. And I actually found that bear in the trash. And I was like, damn, he's like me. He's in the trash. He's in the gutter.
Throwaway.
Like, he was throwaway. But I was a little kid, so I took this bear out.
Yeah.
And my mom has it in the closet, man. So I took this bear. And what I didn't know is that my pops had hit a lick that night. And he hit a serious lick. And he's dead now, so I can speak on it.
Right.
But he hit a serious lick. And we left there. And I guess he already, like, we bounced around for a few days. And then we drove down this gravel driveway to this big-ass house, which was new to me. No neighbors, no gunshots, no none of that.
Like, where the fuck am I at?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is going on right now? You know what I mean? But, like I said, he hit a lick. So then the feds got involved. They start getting his name. His name's popping up. So we wouldn't be there for about 6, 7 months. And it was the same thing. Grab everything you grab and let's go. We had 2 Rottweilers. We left them chained up out back. Don't know what happened to them. And once again, grabbed that teddy bear. And that was life, man, until the age of 12, right before I turned, it was around 12, he got into a shootout. And I've talked about this on my channel, man. He gets into this big-ass shootout, and it's with him and somebody he grew up with. And I actually beat the dude's son up, which started the whole beef.
Like old school, legendary, like typical rivalry, right?
Yeah, well, him and this dude, Joe, they grew up together, man. Like, they known each other since teen years.
So it goes back to, like, what you would call a real rivalry, right?
Yeah, but then, like, they got money together, and I had a little sister, and my pops and him was real close, but his son put his hands on my sister. And when he did, I drug his ass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I drug him in front of his father with my father standing there. My father screaming, stop, stop, stop. But I mean, you trained me to do this.
Right.
It's my sister. He hit her with a backpack, the zipper cutter. This was on a school bus. So I dragged him. Bom, 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 bom. And then because I didn't stop, my dad pulls me off of the other dude's son and beats my ass, like, puts fist on me, kind of to show his homeboy, like, I'm sorry. But that put bad blood between the 2 of them. So that ends up with us, we're in this trailer, man, and just gunshots go off. and they start coming through the wall. And they're in the woods behind where we live, and they're firing.
It's like fireworks.
And Pops didn't give a fuck about that convicted felon shit. Like, he had gun cabinets, pistols, you name it, the layout.
It's that old school mentality.
Man, he goes in the back bedroom, he grabs a blanket, throws it on the floor, and I think my mom and him had just went to the grocery store, and he was telling me, he was like, dump the ammo drawers with the clips in them, dump them on the blanket, because I couldn't tote these big rifles. I'm a kid. And he's loading this blanket up with all these guns, and he takes off running, like out on some crazy shit, out next to this old truck in this tree, and he crouches down, he's like, bring the blanket. I'm dragging this blanket, and they're like shooting.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They're shooting inside the truck, the bullets are hitting it, and I get there, and he would literally, like, he would fire back, and they would fire, this shit felt like it took forever. And
yeah, it's like time slows down in them.
Man, it was terrifying. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so as he's throwing guns there, he'd be like, that clip. And I smack the clip in there, hand it to me. Fire. He let off. And after a while, that stopped. It quieted down. But by now, my dad's got my mom. He's got 4 kids. This isn't dead. Yeah, I just had this full shootout. All places riddled with bullets.
That shit never dies.
Like, somebody ain't died yet, so this ain't over.
Right.
So it was one of the things. He had a little pool behind camper, man, and he loaded us in there. I mean, this thing was small, like maybe 8-10 foot. It's got a little seating area that's in there, and you put that down, that becomes a bed, and there's a bed in the back and like a bunk bed above it. And so we packed in there 6 deep, and we left Charlotte and came to Richmond, and we lived in my aunt's backyard for a couple months just in that camper, and they got food stamps, and then we moved into a trailer park. And from there, like, I thought leaving North Carolina, because where we lived, it was crazy. Like, I told you, that nice house, that shit was temporary.
Right.
That was a glimpse of what life could be.
Confused at this.
Confused, not even the word, man. That was, like, there was no stability. There was
no
no real
structure.
None.
Chaos.
None.
Right, organized chaos almost.
And so we come here, we come, when I say here, we go to Virginia, and we've got limited funds. We took off middle of the night, ain't like he was stacking bread.
Right.
And we sat in that backyard in a camper for months until they got us to a trailer park. And this trailer park was like, it was where you go when you have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like the projects, bro.
Yeah, that's what the trailer park is.
Yeah,
it's
just
the
like
projects.
The projects. Yeah.
Like,
I
it's actually cheaper than the projects.
I grew up in projects, and I've seen some projects that were worse than trailer, and I've seen some trailer sites that were worse than the projects. So it's like they go hand in hand. I'm saying they're one and the same to me.
Yeah, they're both.
I come from the projects, but I go to someone's trailer, and it's like, oh, it's different. But I was like, we live in the same.
Pretty much, they
live in the same.
Put all the poor people together.
That's
pretty much.
I mean, you either got
call a project because it's a project.
It's
an
a project.
They're
Something they're working on.
What I'm saying?
And so out there, you got all the drug addicts. You got the women that are tricking. You got the men beating the children.
Yeah,
like I had an abusive father that beat on me, beat on my siblings. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I got out there, it was the first time that I actually I felt like a part of something.
Took to it.
I did, because I wasn't like, I was an abused child, a kid that got beat on by his pops.
Something about the
the
environment you could
You
relate.
wasn't the only one, yeah.
Something about the environment you could relate to.
Yeah, like my homeboys and them, they would have bruises on them too.
Shit,
And be like, Pops
right.
was riding down on me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we get to talking and be like, yeah, Pops beats me.
Yeah.
So for once, it wasn't like I was that kid in the school that was hiding the bruises. It was like the majority of the dudes around me were going home to an alcoholic father or drug addicted father, and they were getting beat. So child abuse in like the trailer park is common.
Yeah.
Somebody sees somebody messing a kid
it's
up
every
out
day.
there,
Same in the
nobody's saying
projects.
nothing.
And listen, when I grew up in the projects, bro, like it could be one of my older brothers, my father. They see me getting in a scrap. If I don't win that scrap,
That's
you better
whooping.
get your ass back out there and fight him or fight me. I'm talking. I got a lineup. I got 4 brothers and a father, and they're like, yo, you go out there and fight him or fight me. And I got my brother saying it, my older brother saying it, my father saying it. So I'm running out there ready to fight anyone, because the last thing I want to do is line up my older brothers that don't mind fuck with my killer father.
No, I've come home.
You know
I've
what I
come
mean?
home and my eye be black, right? And I win the fight. But you come in with the black eye,
like,
it don't look like you won the fight.
Right.
So then you
They want
catch
to see
that
what
ass
he
whooping.
looks like.
Yeah, you know,
they
I
want to
catch-
know what he looks like. Yeah,
I catch that ass whooping straight from Pops right then and there. He's putting fists on me, boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, well, where was y'all at? Who is this? And we go up there, he knocks on the door. The father wants to run it.
That's
He'll
how
run
my
it with the
brothers were
dad.
too,
Send your son out. I need to see this
knocking
take
out
place.
the whole family, yeah.
So
Any
now I
male
gotta fight this
involved.
kid again, or I gotta fight this grown man.
Yep.
So I'm really gonna do you dirty. You know what I mean? Like the first go round, we fought. We had whatever disagreement.
So you
being
learn to
kids.
just
When
adapt.
Pops watching, oh, I'm trying to hawk you. I'm trying to smash you.
Yeah,
man.
you learn to adapt well. Like, it wasn't enough for me to fight. It's like, yo, I don't care what you gotta do him dirty, but win. Like I
Win,
don't come
bite,
in here,
don't matter.
Bite, do him
Pick
dirty. I was
something up,
always a small dude. I was known for grabbing your ears, headbutting you, whatever, elbows, grimy shit. The oodles and noodles, throw the sauce in
the packet,
the dust in your eye and shit.
That's crazy. You remember a pack of oodles and noodles in your pocket though with the packet.
No, you don't need the whole noodles.
No,
you just need the little packets.
Yeah.
I carried 10 of them in the project when I was real small, but. You know, a few Asians try to jump me, I'll be ready. Boom. As long as you weren't sweating and it dissolves in your hands, you fuck.
Yeah.
You just get the scrapping. But yo, it worked in my favor a few times. Little tricks like that, my father taught me. But it was just like the environment I was in. It was normal. I wasn't the only one with them in my blood.
You don't realize till later in life that it's not normal.
It ain't normal. But at the time, I thought it was normal.
But at the time,
10 packets, like. Yeah. But we fast forward, man. He died when I was 17, and I'd been left home. And from there, I'd already been locked up. Like, I'd already done the juvenile stints.
Sorry for your loss.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So then I hit 18, and it's not, no sooner I hit 18, I'm in jail.
So before 18, you went through all this before 18?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was a ticking time bomb. By the time I hit 18.
Know what that does to somebody whose mind ain't even developed. Not even nearly developed.
You didn't have the time to sit at home and talk about plans of college. High school graduations weren't a thing.
It wasn't even up like called.
It's not in my cards, man.
It wasn't even a topic in the crib.
Never been to one of my family's graduations at this point. Ain't got people around me graduating. People are dying, overdosing,
So you're not
going to jail.
No success, no positivity.
I had left home, and that's when I really that's when I hit the projects. And when I hit the projects, it was a whole nother world.
You hit the ground running.
Running's not the word. I posted up. And just did what I wanted out there because that was it. Their main thing was just try to keep the cops from out here.
Right.
Because everybody's out here getting money.
Right.
So we don't like nobody.
No attention.
If you go rob somebody, get them at the gas station.
Don't make it hard. No one wanted attention.
You don't shit where you live.
That's proper shit out here. It's like, especially the old timers, I ain't gonna say no more, but they're very particular about you bringing attention. Even my tattoos, they hate it. Any attention, even me with the jewelry, the way I'm living loud, they hate any attention. They hate it. They're against that shit. But you know, that was then, this is now. But go ahead, bro.
So from there, like I was always violent, man. A lot of that, like hurt people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was a hurt child.
Did you take that to school too? Did you get in
fights
fights at school? Because I feel like that's where it started.
My first arrest was actually in school at 11.
Wow, mine
these
too.
kids used to try to bank me, and I brought this big Rambo knife to school.
Mine
and I was really like trying to give it to them because I was tired. You know what I mean? Like I done fought y'all till I can't fight no more. It's 3-on-1. This is a day. Every day this is happening. I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna poke the shit out of one of y'all.
And you're carrying all that what you already been through before you even hit 18. You're carrying all that. What people don't realize, you carry that shit on your shoulder,
your whole life.
You carry that hate in your heart.
You have no way to vent it.
I'm still learning now to like let stuff go, and it's a process, bro.
It's crazy when you're venting violence with violence.
Right.
Like the only way to release the violence and the anger you have inside of you is to become more violent.
The best way to get caught up in the cycle and end up in prison or in trouble.
Yeah, you feel like you let it out in that moment of hurting them. You
don't know anything else.
But you created more violence.
Right. Product of your environment.
So I got a best friend, man. Shout out to Philly, man. Shout out to Brian. He gets out in August, man, after 9 years.
Free Brian.
My co-defendant on my last case. He's about to go home. But we met when we was young bucks, man. I'm talking about early teens, and I started bouncing back and forth between VA and Philly. So I did a bunch of stints locked up in Philly.
Yeah.
The bad thing about Philly is we can go there 5 deep, and everybody goes home but me. Because that's just like if I'm with y'all and something pops off, I'm gonna be the first one to lash out.
So
you know what I mean? So each time we got into robbing, and it was never supposed to be robbing. I never expected to rob people.
Yeah.
But we have an issue with a dude one night, and dude we're at a party, and he's just loud with his mouth. He's a bigger dude, and he keeps flashing his money. We're young boys. We're out here with not a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this dude has pulled out a knot. He's done it several times.
Right.
And one of my people, they got a problem with him. So I'm like, get him outside. Get him away from the party and towards the alley, because there's an alley right between where he lives at. And so I'm talking about the money now because looking back on it, I think that planted the seed.
Right.
And I already wanted to do it just because I'm new out Philly. I want to put in, get my name out here. So we get him in the alley, and man, we hurt dude, we devastated dude, and when his pockets had come out, it's over $8 grand. It's almost $9 grand, split 3 ways. That's a
nice
come up.
Leg. That's a real.
When you've been in the same jeans for 4 days.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And you go to the store up the street and buy a white tee for $2. You know what I mean? Like,
hell yeah, bro.
So from there, that's where it hopped off. I said, you know what? I'm out here selling wet, boat, coke, crack, pills,
anything, right.
And I just literally just
really,
laced
whatever
dude up.
you could get your hands on.
Whatever's popping off out here, I'm gonna go get it.
Right.
If this is a block where they want wet, then I'm gonna go get wet. If they want pills, I'm gonna get pills.
Right.
I'm always gonna stay with Tree because that's just
and
the
you
universal.
But that robbing thing is like that instant gratification, that all 100% profit.
Yeah,
it's different because when you hustling, you gotta kind of put the work in. It's like any legal hustle, but like when you rob somebody,
and there's an adrenaline rush that comes from it. Like after it's all over, I'm not boasting, man.
Nah.
Do not go rob nobody.
Yeah, we ain't looking to glorify none of that shit.
Don't be robbing people. That shit ain't cool.
This is how you end up in trouble.
This is how I ended up in prison.
Right.
Like, so understand that. Everything.
Well, we gotta say this to see how far you have come in life. Yeah. Now. So we gotta go there with it.
I go through all these different. Like I catch a robbery case out in Philly in '99. I got 11.5 to 23. It was 11.5 to 23 months. I did that. I come home, and man, I'm not out long. I hadn't talked to any counselors. Jail doesn't do anything for you but lock you up.
I was gonna ask, that was county jail or did you go to prison?
That was county. That was CFCF.
Okay.
Place called Kieran From Hold Off State Road in Philly.
Gotcha.
I didn't have enough time to get sent off to like Greatersford or all these different places they got. So I sat there, but this place is fucking savage. When I mean it's savage, you got dudes like praying to go to prison. Like, yo, when's the bus coming? Get me out of here. This place is like, it's like that. So I wouldn't be out long, and the arrest just kept coming. And at first I felt like Gotti because I kept spanking cases.
Right.
So now when I go
that
from the
makes
judge,
you kind of feel a little like.
Man, you might beat the case, but when you go back in front of that judge,
it don't look.
Even if you beat it, he sees it.
Yeah,
he sees the arrest record.
Yeah, it adds up.
And you would take these cases to trial and beat it, or like dismissals?
Take it out to the hoop, go to the hoop.
No, I'm fighting them. We're gonna fight. It's my life right here.
Earn that.
You know what I mean? Like I'm fighting them, and to take them to trial, them lawyers will try to get you on the stand, and I got homeboys, like, so that puts me in a position where I gotta talk, and I can possibly jam somebody up around me. You know what I mean?
This is the last thing you want to do.
No, yeah. So we're gonna take it. I ain't got nothing to say.
Right.
I let my lawyer do all the speaking. That's what you're paid for.
Right. So I don't want to jump around too much, but we're gonna get into the prison thing. But like, were you just determined, or you know that when you write something down, you're more likely to get it done?
When I set my mind to something, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because as of now, everything I've done was pre-planned except for YouTube. YouTube was just a dream. YouTube was a way for me to vent. It felt good to reach out and to like get things off my chest to help me with the nightmares, and but I knew that I would reach people.
Right.
I didn't know they would come with a check.
Right.
I never imagined that it would one day start to be a check.
As much success.
Yeah, but I did. I came home and I took that list,
it's
man.
Crazy,
by now it was a mental list. I said I'm gonna settle down. I want to get a house, car, just the normal. Everything I had never been.
To stop there with
I just wanted to be normal.
Even just writing something down or putting it in your head,
thinking
it,
see it,
saying it, you're more likely to do it.
Facts.
Absolutely.
So I worked the list, man. I got out. I got a job. I went to day after 10 years, 4 months incarcerated. The following day after getting out, I went to work. And these people just like they were paying me what they would pay a 16-year-old because I was an ex-con.
Right.
He took one look at my record and was like, oh, you like to put your hands on people. Wow. This guy over here is 17 years old and is making $4 more an hour than me.
Right.
And like, I'm not a dummy. Like, I worked construction prior to going in. I wasn't just living under a bridge with a pistol, you know what I mean? Like, I worked. So that job didn't work out, and I was out about 8 months when I dropped my first ad on Craigslist for my company when I got my LLC.
The construction.
With the construction.
Right.
And it took a while for that to pop off. Like, I was working. I just didn't know. Like, I think a lot of people don't do, like, you're not going to go start a restaurant because you don't know how to run a restaurant.
Right.
You don't know how much the meat's going to cost, how much you should charge per plate. You know what I mean?
You didn't study your product yet.
So what I did, man, and I mean, I'm just let it keep it real. I got some investors, people that I was giving them a price for what I was doing the work for, and I would call actual licensed contractors out there to quote the job for me. And then I would call another one out there to quote the job for me.
Right,
and another one, right? And the guy that's my investor does not know I'm doing this.
Right.
He just knows I'm charging him whatever I'm charging him. Then I would ask them to break that down for me, how you got that number. Almost like somebody teaching you to cook crack.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Break that number down. How did you get that number for this house?
Right.
Well, we're charging you this much because we charge square foot by this. And I did that with several of them until it gave me kind of a formula of what I should be charging.
Right.
So it got to a point where,
that's smart,
bro, I was going in my rent money to help pay the employee I had. Like, this is supposed to be a job. I'm not making no money. I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. They're making money. I'm negative 400 out the rent.
Right.
But after I called them dudes out and I got the formula right, I'll never forget, man. I walked in and the wife was like, yo, so we broke again? And I threw like, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 grand on the bed. She was like, what's that? That's to pay the guys? I was like, that's us. And from that day forward,
that's us.
I had the number. I had the numbers down. I knew what to charge. I've been cutting myself short. It's like the dope game. Instead of selling $50 grams, I was selling $5 because I didn't know what I had.
Right.
I was selling myself short.
Right.
You fast forward from that was
like it's all profit or something.
Yes,
like,
that was
take into
like
consideration the cost of
I didn't
work,
gas and workers. It's just like I didn't take it.
So
you get to 2015, the company takes off. And by 2020, when I started YouTube, and I've got 12 employees, 4 trucks running, a warehouse. Like, we're living. When we were living in the projects. When I got out, we went where we could live. We moved into the projects. So I got us out of there and into a nice house, then into a nicer house.
Man. Good.
And then my son, my youngest son was born in 2017, and that was a big motivation.
Bless him.
I never got to be a dad.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know what our gifts are.
Right.
Like you might think your gift is rapping, you might think your gift is this, you might think it's that. My gift is 1, I have the gift of gab, and 2 is being a father.
Yeah. One of the best things I'm good at, I always say it all the time, I got family first here, family first, but I'm like, when people are like, yo, what are you the best at, this, that, like, I'm the best at being a dad, a son, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, like, I'm best at being a family man.
Well, my
and
kids,
then my other stuff. Family's always first, bro.
My kids, they gave me the thing that I never had. I never had reason. I never had a bond.
Right.
I never had anything to come home to.
True love.
I didn't want to go home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What was home, though?
Home was,
look at your childhood.
Yeah,
there was no structure.
That's the last place I want to go. When all the other kids are in,
yeah.
I'm still walking around outside and the streetlights on. You know what I mean? Like just looking for somebody to play with.
But not to be funny, but the way you came up, it was almost like, you know, I got gypsy cousins, so I could say this, but like it's almost like a Roma. Like, you're always on the go, you're always on the run, you're always traveling. So it's like there's no consistency, there's no stability.
No, and
you need stability and structure in the household. Like what you're building now, what you're doing is breaking a cycle. But go ahead, bro. I had
my
make
son
that point.
In 2017, and then by now I've been out of prison over 3 years. You know what I mean? Right at 3 years, I was coming up on that mark when he was born. And when I had him, that was when life like clicked for me. I didn't see it with my first son because I wasn't there.
Right.
I was in and out of jail. I was robbing. I was selling this. I was selling that. Like I was a no shit. I wasn't a dad.
Right.
I was a dude that had a baby mama with a kid.
Right.
With my second son, it was way different.
Right.
I
you
settled
actually
down.
had a chance to be there.
Yes. You know, I changed diapers. I watched him be born.
Right.
I held him all
and
throughout the night when he cried.
Bond,
and
unbreakable.
I would leave out that door, and I couldn't imagine not coming home now.
Unexplainable bond.
Like, there's nobody out here that's going to make me do no crash out shit because he's going to be waiting on me.
100%.
He needs me. And that's what I needed my entire life was I needed to be needed. I was not needed at home.
Right.
I wasn't. My mom had to deal with my dad and his craziness. My brothers and sisters were going through the same thing I was going through. We weren't, you know, we cried on each other when we got hurt.
Right. It was like organized chaos. Yeah.
So that would explain like my trips back and forth to jail. Nobody needed me. Right. So I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it showed me a lot about homeboys. Like people will claim to love you. Go do a decade and you'll see who really loves you.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean? Homies will tell you, man, I'm one of the only one. Hit them up, write them at least, send them whether it's $20 here and
That's
there.
Rare.
Even just a what's up.
That's
I'm
rare.
known for that. You could ask Keisha, you could ask any of my homies, but they'll tell you blue eyes is gonna hit you.
I had 2 people. 2 people, man, my whole bid. And I'm not talking family, I'm talking about that weren't blood related to me.
Right.
That stayed up with me. And one of them was a girl that I'd been messing with prior to. She took the whole 10-year trip with me. I wouldn't be with her just because I didn't want to make her feel locked up. Right. She didn't deserve that. She started messing with drugs right before I got out, so I said, I ain't coming home to that. Sorry you been around this long, but you're doing things I can't do.
Right.
I can't come and be around that. She OD'd and died last year.
Oh man.
So you know what I mean? Man. It goes to show you that like
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. It's
there's
terrible.
There's so many when we do this podcast, unfortunately when we go through these stories, it's like we find ourselves maybe throughout the podcast 5-10 times. We're like, rest in peace. We're reminiscing on stories and people. You would see so many girl. We're lucky to be here, us three.
You would see her and you would be like, there's no way that girl was sticking a needle. That girl was smoking a pipe. You would see her and you'd be like, there's no way she was doing that. So when I got the news, like she came in the visiting room and I was still locked up and her hands were wrapped. And I was like, what's up with your hands? She was like, I burnt myself for work. And I'm like, yeah? Let me see your hands. Her hands were abscessed. And it was somebody close to me in the streets that had been serving her and turned her on. One of my homeboys. One of them dudes that's, I'm gonna hold you down while I'm out there, homie, you know what I mean? I see when you get home, one of my aces, all he cared about was the dollar sign. He turned her on. So when I seen the hands, I said, yo, that's gotta...
turned into a deuce.
I said, that's gotta stop. Like, I can't come home to that. After 10 years, I can't come home and stay with you and you got, what's going on at your house? This is how you showing up here. So I split ways with her. And yeah, man, she died last year. Damn, bro. But the YouTube thing, YouTube was the second
blessing. Got yourself out of this. Sometimes you can't control everything and everyone but yourself, and remove yourself from a certain situation.
I'm still finding out. I've been out now since 2014. I'm still finding out about people to this day that are dead. I asked somebody the other day about somebody like, bro, he died while you was gone. I'm like,
social media is big for that. Like, if it wasn't for social media,
in 10 years, so many people died, and plus I don't do Facebook. So I don't know a lot of what's going on in the streets. Somebody might have died last week. I don't do that, so I won't. I have to bump into somebody to find out.
I just lost the ex-girl and a homegirl in the same week, and one of my homeboys. Like just 3 people I know passed away within this month, and it's like, it's crazy. After COVID, it's like with the wakes, I can't even keep up no more. Like,
I stopped going.
After my brother, it broke me. After me having to hold my own, you know what I mean? See my own brother. It's like after that, it was just like I'm numb to it. Like I have a lot of homies and friends. It's like, no disrespect. I can't put myself in that situation no more.
I made a rule, man.
At a young age, I've been to too many wakes. Not enough weddings, bro. Like, you know, too many funerals, not enough graduations. My uncle Ronnie, who I'm named after, I lost my uncle too. So it's like, you know, I got a lot of uncles and aunts, but some of them you have a bond with, like, you know what I mean? I'm named after my Uncle Ronnie. That was like, you know what I mean? And this dude was murdered, you know what I mean? Head blown off. Like, it was just
it's all
the kind of shit that inherited and falls down around here in Massachusetts when it's like, there's people involved in shit. You might not get involved with a beef, but someone might inherit a beef. It's like Hatfields and McCoys. People be
you ain't even gotta be. You ain't gotta be involved. You just gotta be involved.
You can just
with
be
them.
Associated.
That's
you know
it.
What I mean?
You ain't involved with the beef. I'm just associated with you.
So you can have a bunch of my dudes, you know, a bunch of dudes in my family that are criminals and gangsters and prisoners, but then the few that ain't, one of them end up getting caught. Like, it's always the good that die young. You know? Even my brother, I was always the one getting into trouble. He was more of a good kid, and it's just crazy how that works.
All my life I was told to do right. Stick around by my side if they want to test my life. Yeah, street kid, I was trapping long nights on the weekend. Shorty on me